Testing. Good morning, everyone. I welcome you to another day with the Financial Coconut. In our podcast, we'll be debunking financial myths, discovering best financial practices, discussing financial strategies that fit our unique lives. You get it. Ultimately empowering us to create a life we love while managing our finances well. Whether you're interested in the pursuit of the common narrative, getting a degree, finding a job, setting up a family, and live happily ever after, or you're an avid FIRE believer, FIRE. For those who are new to the term, FIRE means financial independence, retire early. Or you're just quirky, like me, questioning and trying to create a life you love, there should be something for you here. Whether on your way to work, school, chilling by the beach, or just cuddling, snuggling in bed, today's topic is Paycheck Reality. So, a lot of my friends around me, we are all in our 20s, just graduated, just got a job, and everyone's talking about, work's so tiring, long hours, and you get paid peanuts. It's tough, right? So, especially when you've never worked a full-time job, ever. You go to work early in the morning, 8, 9 a.m., and you end work late. More often than not, when you're early, when you're new, you got an OT, which means overtime, and many times you don't get paid extra. So I get it. Many people, feel this disdain for work and always question, why am I being paid so little? Because we tend to overvalue our lives and our skills, but that's for later. Ultimately, I want to talk a little bit about paychecks, the reality of paychecks, because I feel that there is a lot of a lot of misconceptions and a lot of too much kind of hype over, making more money, and, if you hate your job, do this. If you hate your job, join that. You're bombarded by all these, things around on, the digital media, and to me, it's very, very weird and very uncomfortable. And I want to talk about how I view paychecks and how I view a job. And to begin with that, we need to first define what is work, right? So when I look at work, essentially it is force time distance, right? Physics geek. Essentially, it's you do something. So when you work, you're essentially just doing something, and work can come in all forms. Whether it's exercise, you call it a workout. Whether it's doing, giving back to society, you call it charity work. Whether it's learning, that is also part of work. Whether it's parenting, or you're cooking, doing a hobby, it's all work. As long as you do something, that is work. So when I define work in that sense, I firstly no longer feel a disdain and disgust for work. And secondly, I get a better understanding of what does a job means. So how I look at a job essentially is a packaged set of work that you offer, and you're paid for it in exchange. Right? So when you look at it, if a job is this packaged set of work, then essentially that is how you are paid for. Right? They pay you to do A, B, C, D, E, which, you probably got to check your employee contract from time to time. I think that is important. But it brings me to my first point that I want to share today, is that your paychecks are actually not directly related to your performance. Because you're essentially paid for the work that we agree upon. And no matter how well you do it, it doesn't exactly affect that pay. Because all you're doing is ABC. If let's say you're someone at the customs, I'm sure everyone has crossed the Johor custom, and the jam is crazy, right? These days it's getting crazier. Everyone goes there on the weekend. I get it. Things are cheaper. Not exactly a lot cheaper, but, Singaporeans like to go there, spend the weekend. I get it. But you realize that when you go there, there is always a jam. And the people at the custom that works at the custom, they just kind of just do the same thing. They just chop the passport, check everything, make sure you're not a wanted person, and they let you in. But you realize that they never really accelerate, even though there are a lot of people. So no matter how many passports they chop as an individual, it doesn't affect their paycheck. It may affect their bonus because the manager may review a little bit, so your performance not that great, or your performance is better, you get paid a little bit more. But that aside, it doesn't affect your monthly pay because you are paid to chop passports, and that's it. So at the workplace, in our workplace, it's the same. Too many people, why do I think this is important to recognize that paychecks are not directly related to your performance? Because I feel that too many people, they tie their self-worth to how much they're paid. When you first join a company, you don't know how to do like maybe Excel, or you're not very good with your work. So you're paid 2-3 thousand as a fresh grad, you're okay with it. After a year or two, you become proficient in that particular work. You can do 2 times, 3 times faster, and you feel very uncomfortable, like, why am I not paid more when I'm getting better at it? And you know that is the reality, that it happens. And which is why I said too many people attach their self-worth to their pay, because they feel that, now I can do better, I should be paid more. And there's this emotional dissonance that happens, always complaining, is like, why am I paid so little? Why the guy next to me is paid, same as me, but they're not as fast, they're not doing as much. And this fosters a lot of unhealthy relationships with your colleagues, with your company, with your job, with yourself. And which is why, to me, we need to realize that our pay in a job setting, our paychecks, are not directly related to our performance. We are paid to do this set of work, and we will continue to be paid to do this set of work at this price. Nothing really changes. And every year you get a little bit of increment. That's about it. Which brings me to my next point. If you want to make more, your paychecks only exponentially grow when you take on a new set of work. Essentially, when the company revalues your work. And if you look at it, the directors, the management, and the executors, they're all paid differently, because given the realities of the market values direction as the top, because these people are the thought processors. They champion the company, they push things along, they innovate, they create. And then the managers are the people that kind of, execute it and make this whole thing work with their team. And the executors, they do their job, right? They do what they're paid for. So when you look at it, you cannot expect to be doing the same thing over and over and over again every year and be paid a lot more, which brings me back to point one, right? So if you really want to grow your income, you got to take on a different set of work. You got to be able to manage people, you got to be able to manage relationships, or you may even want to change a department, right? Because like currently, I think there are a lot of my friends in the tech field, they just graduated. I'm not sure how good a techie they are, but to me, if you're new to the market, you don't really have a lot of experience, then I would call you fresh, right? So if you're a fresh techie, a fresh person in coding, you're easily paid like 5-6 thousand. If you work for the banks, you work for the big corporations, right? And if you are a finance graduate, or you study business, you do accounts, you come out, you are paid 3-4 thousand. And demand supply dictates a lot of these things. So if you want to make more, then you got to change your skill set. Either, ask for transfer to another department and pick up the skill set, or pick up the skill set, ask for the transfer, or get promoted. Essentially, you will not be paid more just by doing the same thing over and over and over again. And if we go further to consider how much companies grow these days, most companies grow at 5 to 10% a year. That's about it. And that's why your increment is usually 3 to 4%, 5% a year. That's about it. Because your company grows at this rate, you get this amount of growth. That's it. Nothing special, nothing unique. Reality check. And I'm not saying that, you should give up trying to make more or raise your income, or I'm not dissing you for, the work that you do. I think everyone finds their profession, takes pride in it, and do a great job. But the reality in the market, because we engage in capitalism, because that is the fundamental of today's economy, today's market, today this is how it works. We got to realize that, if your company doesn't make more and you're doing the same thing in a company, you cannot expect to be outgrowing the company. Which brings me to my last point. You will realize that your paychecks are a lot more related to the platform you are on than the performance that you have. What do I mean by that? I'll share with you a short story. So I have a friend who does accounting work, simple accounting work. She graduated from the polytechnics, got a diploma, do accounts, and she worked for an F&B, a chain for a good few years. And she was making like 2 point something, close to 3,000 take home pay, which is okay, fair, decent. But then one day she was approached by a legal firm, a legal company. She switched and she immediately got an increment of 20 to 30% more. Doing the same thing, accounting work. It's not that her performance increased, if in fact her performance may decrease because she's going into a new environment and she needs to re-understand how the legal business work. But she's paid 20 to 30% more because the platform she's on can afford. Legal work has a bigger margin than F&B, food and beverage, right? I have another friend who is in F&B, does the same thing. She just got a job in Hong Kong. So she's going to be flying from Singapore to Hong Kong and she's going to work there doing about the same thing. And she was paid 30% more than she was in Singapore because the platform is bigger there, because the platform can afford, because the platform values her work, values her skills differently. And that is something that we need to realize. It is not about how proficient we are, but many a times, which platform we are on, you can be the best legal lawyer, but when you come out and you join a charity or you join a non-profit, you will never be able to get the kind of income of being in a top legal firm. Or you can be a great, what do you call that? Like a great business person. You know how to hustle, you know how to make things work. You're a great business champion. You join a, what do you call that? Like a non-profit, or you join a social enterprise. It's very, very tough because these companies, these platforms, they don't make as much, and that's about it, which is very questionable. But as of now, that is the standard, right? And we got to realize that. Of course, I'm assuming that your platform doesn't grow exponentially, right? If you're in a big company and it is in an industry that is tighter in margins, retail or F&B or you know whatever industry that cannot afford to pay more, that's about it. But if your platform that you're on grows exponentially, then your paycheck has the potential to grow. Much like how the startup guys do it, right? You always see overnight success, which honestly it never overnight one. There are a lot of shit in between. A lot of things happen and they ultimately brace through to get funding, break through into a market, get mainstream, and they get their business. But you see a lot of these startup guys, okay, you see some of these startup guys burst to become wealthy. And the platform they're on grows at 300, 500 to 1,000% year on year growth, right? And because they're in a startup, that is a reality that they work in. So if you really want to exponentially grow your income or you want to make more money, then join a bigger platform or join a fast moving platform. And there we go. Don't need to be too emotional about, oh, I'm not paid more, I'm not paid enough. If you really want to make more and you really feel that you're proficient in what you do, you have great performance, then move on, go to a different place. But don't need to be too emotional about it. These are some paychecks reality, right? Do the same thing over and over again, you'll never be paid more. Right? So let me recap on the 3 points of paycheck reality that I've talked about today. Your paychecks, number one, your paychecks are not directly related to your performance. So you can be really, really good at what you do, and it doesn't reflect in the kind of pay that you have, which is okay. That is how it works. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't improve. I highly recommend you to become super good at what you do, be super proficient at what you do, and opportunities will come. But we got to realize that doesn't mean that you can execute 2, 3 times faster, you can generate more sales, then naturally your paychecks grow. So second point that we need to remember is that your paychecks grow exponentially when you take on new skills that are valued by the company or valued by society. It's a market demand kind of thing. Okay? So if you really want to grow fair, take on jobs, take on skills that are valued by the market, or become better at management, because the market appreciates and values management and managing people in general, currently at least. And the third point is that your paychecks are more related to the platform you're on. So if you really want to make more money, join a bigger, faster moving platform. And that's it for today. I hope you learned something. See ya. Test. Hey, I hope you learned something useful today and truly appreciate that you took time off to better your life with the financial coconut. Knowledge is that much more powerful and interesting when shared, debated, and discussed. I hope you would share what you've gained with people you love, and I want to hear from you. Give me some questions and help me to build our community of financial savvy coconuts. I hope together we can fulfill our curious minds and our desire for clarity. Email me at thefinancialcoconut@gmail.com. I will do my best to address your questions in a future podcast series, especially if many people are concerned about the same topic. With that, have a great day ahead, stay tuned next week, and always remember, personal finance can be chill, clear, and sustainable for all.